Oh, good morning. It's 5:13 a.m. in the morning, December 23rd, 2011. I think the big news today is the Speaker of the House caving in on the tax deal. What I wanted to talk about was um, Ron Paul. In the past, uh, uh, the further you go back, the nicer I talked about Ron Paul. A lot of things I liked about Ron Paul. And then, of course, more recently, liking him less. Uh, I like Ron Paul's uh, local, national policies, better than his international policies. Of course, he's never going to be president of the United States. He should never be president of the United States, and he would be disastrous for the nation. And I've said generally the things I've said over in my past blogging about Ron Paul is that he would have been a great president for the 1800s. But but what I want to talk about is this CNN interview, and I do interviews like this. Um, One thing I've liked about Ron Paul is that uh, he seems like he'll be interviewed by anybody, and seems like that he would, just sort of tell you the truth, uh, whatever, you know, doesn't seem like he was thinking about, okay, if I say this, well, he just tells you, okay, here's my position. Now, of course, the more he rises in the polls and the closer it gets to, then they start hedging a little bit. But I mean, the thing I liked about him was plain spoken, outspoken, here I am, take me or leave me type situation. And so now he has this interview with Gloria Bogner. I don't know who she is. I don't know what show she does on CNN. She's a CNN person, and she's asking him about the newsletter that was put out by him under his name. In the way the newsletter, I guess, was put out, it was like he was, his first person, I, this, that, I mean, and unbelievably racist and unbelievably anti-Jewish, and just, I mean, something you'd expect, I guess, from the Klan or something. And he put this out in the past, and it's come up. It came up in the past. It was discussed in the past. He's been asked about it, but now that he's number one in Iowa and may win in Iowa, people have been asking him more questions about it, and all this stuff is coming up now. She was doing a very poor job of the interview. She was asking the questions, and I don't know, the wrong way. She was just, she doing a very poor job, just not professional. But what I liked about Ron Paul in the past was that no matter what the questions were that he was asking, and he would tell you, and this you see that he's an asshole. I sort of suspected that he was, um, but you see his demeanor and his conduct, and you see the way he replies to her, like, uh, well, this is, like, this is CNN, and, well, you people, and just, so everything. So it really did not, and then he walks off, he takes his microphone off, and then, then he walks off and leaves, and he made a comment, uh, it really, I guess I didn't put that in my blog, but, uh, I'm not a fan of the media. Let's talk about interviews. Like I said, she wasn't doing a good job, but that's the problem. We have these quote interviewers. Like, okay, take Larry King. People wondered why from CNN, or used to be on, he's retired, thank God. He went too long. I remember Larry King. I used to listen to Larry King when he was on the radio, when he wasn't, when he was starting out. And he was great. And he did great interviews. Uh, Top notch, a number one, great interview. Anyway, when he got on CNN and he got big money, big bucks, people wonder why in the world were all these celebrities. He would get everybody on his TV show for interviews, and people, I think people probably wondered why do all these people go on, the Larry King? He gets everybody, and he got everybody on his show because they knew that you go on there and he is not going to ask you a difficult question. He's not going now later, just a few years, later in life when he got, then I think his brain cells started dying, and he'd ask him stupid questions or something sort of maybe inappropriate, But people went on his show because they knew that they're not going to be asking any hard questions. He's not going to press them on anything. And so sure, go on there. He's just going to ask you, hey, why are you such a wonderful person? Why are you such a great actor? Uh, what good have you done for the world? Do you, what are your charity? I mean, sure, go on there. You're not going to come out looking bad. You're going to come out looking good. He's going to make you look good, and he's not going to. So that's why they went on there. Um, One of the interview shows that I just love, the Charlie Rose show. He does great interviews, and he's really intelligent. I mean, and he's thought everything out. He has all the details. He has all the facts, and he asks the right question. A lot of these interviewers, they're asking. I'm sitting at home, and they ask somebody a question, and then the person, that they ask a question to responds and says something, and then the interviewer goes on with the next thing on his list, and I'm thinking, well, the person just said such and such. Why don't you ask them why? Or you said, but it's not. Okay, my next question is, my question is, what's your name? What's your age? Where do you live? What's your uh, what's your birth sign? What's your favorite? They got these questions that they ask, and the person is saying, you ask the person, what's my name? And the person says, well, my name is uh, Adolph Brown, and I was named after, you ask me his name, and he says Adolph Brown, and then he says, volunteers. I was named after Adolf Hitler, my hero, and the interviewer is, okay, let's see, he gave his name. Now, what's your age? They don't follow up, they don't listen. And Charlie Rose listens, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, when somebody says something, you're thinking, I'd like to, and Charlie Rose will ask them ask them the question that you're thinking that you should be asked. But I love Charlie Rose, and he's an excellent interviewer, and he's really smart, and he has all that he doesn't have, some of these people have somebody on the show, and they don't know anything about the person, and they don't know anything about the issues, and yet they've got these questions to ask, and Charlie Rose knows the person, knows the issues, history, everything. But he also does not, he'll ask somebody a question that you might think, uh, you know, uh, there are people who think that you're racist. No, no, I'm not racist. Oh, okay. And then he goes on, and he doesn't say, well, why do you think all these people think you're a racist? Why does so and so say that you said? He doesn't do that. He doesn't press the issue. He just brings it up. He asks it. The person gives their answer, and then he moves on to the next subject. Now, this Gloria, she was doing a really poor job, and but Ron Paul sort of, in a way, put him in the thing with like John McCain. John McCain's another one. I said really great things about John McCain. Uh, John McCain was my hero. I mean, if uh, John McCain is a hero, was a hero. I mean, uh, if if I'd have been captured by any enemy, they wouldn't have had to torture me. They could have just let me know they could have just got out the torture. They could I'd have, I would have signed anything, a confession. I'd go on television, broadcast that I was a spy or I was using poison gas or I was deliberately targeting women. If they're gonna torture me, what I admired about what I admired about John McCain, that he served his country and that he was a hero and courageous. And another thing I admired about him was that he didn't bring it up. He didn't play it up. It was a known fact. Everybody knew it, and he didn't say I'm a hero, I'm a hero, I'm a hero. And that's one thing. Now that's something. I mean, if I'd have been captured by the enemy, I wouldn't have been able to come home because I'd have joined them. I mean, don't torture me. I'll join you. Give me your Nazi uniform or your Vietnamese, uniform, the flag. I'll carry it in your parade. I mean, I'd have been, if I had been heroic, which would never have happened, but I would have been like John McCain. When I came back, I wouldn't want anybody to call me a hero. I wouldn't told anybody that I was a hero, whatever. And we Americans admire that about our heroes, even sort of make believe, TV heroes or cowboy heroes, John Wayne or whatever. That's an American characteristic or whatever that we admire you know, the quiet hero. Uh, and so I was really disappointed when John McCain then was running this last time for president because his people, all the ads that were running for him, they were, John McCain, war hero, courageous, they were doing that. And but then, unfortunately, I wish John McCain hadn't. You like to have some heroes. You like to have somebody you can think, hey, is. But when he picked his vice presidential running mate, Sarah Palin, that that showed that he didn't have the best interest of the United States at heart, and it bordered on treasonous. That you're the president of the United States and you're picking the person who may have to step into your position, and then to say this person is qualified, and to say that this person I mean that was really, and unfortunately it tarnished John McCain's image and his standing and his reputation and his integrity and everything. That's too bad. I mean, I wish he had not have run for president this last time, and we could have had him up there, on the shelf as a hero. Of course, Ron Paul was never a hero of that character, just an outspoken old crazy guy that you kind of admired in a way, and some of the issues he's 100% right on. But unfortunately, you can't take somebody like Ron Paul and say, oh, well, he's 100% right that the United States should not go to war unless Congress declares war. And, that's your issue that you're really crazy about, which is a good issue. That's what it should be. But you can't overlook some of these other things. Sometimes you can overlook some things, but some things you can't. Running off on a tangent. Um, one of our greatest presidents, Franklin D. Roosevelt, in probably the top 5, definitely the top 10. One of our greatest all-time presidents, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Uh, he was president for so long. He had a second, had a different vice president there at the last, Harry Truman. As great a man as Franklin D. Roosevelt was, the fact that he had his vice president, Harry S. Truman, and Franklin D. Roosevelt was in really bad physical condition. He had to know it. Now, of course, I'm sure he was thinking, I'm not going to die, He's, not sitting there thinking, I'm going to die, but everybody around him looked at him and, this guy's going to die. And there, the United States is at war, in World War II. The United States has developed a nuclear bomb, and Harry S. Truman doesn't even know, Franklin D. Roosevelt, the president, doesn't confide anything in him, doesn't update him on anything. Harry Truman doesn't even know that we have a nuclear weapons program. He doesn't know anything. And then Franklin D. Roosevelt dies, and Harry S. Truman is president of the United States, and we're in World War II. And that, you got to ding. Roosevelt still stays one of our greatest presidents of all time. But, and that's, of course, times were different, really different back then. And now we know more about the need for everybody being on the plan. And whoops, have I gone 17 minutes? Oh my God. But anyway, thought this was going to be a little short thing about Ron Paul. And in my crazy dementia, I started wandering all over the place. So, December 23rd, Merry Christmas to everybody.